I swear this YouTube camera is giving me some difficulties in the beginning. Nonetheless, Kalala Yahweh, Bo Shema Mashak Yawasha, Shema Yasharala Yahweh Alahaya Nawa Kadaba Mashpaka, Asha Shabbat. May peace, serenity, and prosperity be multiplied to you all. It's a beautiful morning this Shabbat. Wanted to get up early and profess Yahweh's business. Shem Yahweh. Now there's a couple of things I want to touch on through the spirit. You know, I don't really have a lesson plan. We're just moving by the spirit, really. Asha Shabbat, Josephine, Israel. Welcome. I don't have a lesson plan or anything. We're just going to be moving off the spirit while we out here. I do have a precept I want to get. And that precept, bear with me, y'all. It's in the book of Jeremiah. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 29, verse 17 through 19. This book of Jeremiah, chapter 29, verses 17 through 19. Let me give you a second to get there in your Bibles. And y'all who are new to this live stream, y'all know what to do when y'all get there. Drop a 7 in the chat. Jeremiah 29, verse 17 through 19. Come. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, behold, I will send upon them the sword, the famine, and the pestilence, and will make them like vile figs that cannot be eaten. They are so evil. And I will persecute them with the sword, with the famine, and with the pestilence, and will deliver them to be removed to all the kingdoms of the earth, to be a curse and an astonishment and a hissing and a reproach among all the nations, whither I have driven them. Verse 19, because they have not hearkened to my words, saith Yahweh, which I sent unto them by my servants the prophets, rising up early, and sending them, but ye would not hear, saith Yahweh. All right. Now I'll let y'all know this. As you all join me out here in the highways and hedges, we got people over here playing soccer. Some people just walking and jogging in this area that I'm at. However, that verse 19 is key, because they would not hearken to my words, saith Yahweh, which I sent unto them by my servants the prophets, rising up early and sending them. So here we are. It's 8:13 in the morning, and it's been placed on my spirit and many other Akim to get out here in the highways and hedges and profess the word of the Lord. prophesy unto the wind. And those who hear, let them hear, and those who don't, let them forbear. However, this is the reason why. This is the main reason why our people as a whole go through what they go through throughout the four corners of the earth. Verse 19 is key. Because they have not hearkened to my words, saith Yahweh, which I sent unto them by my servants the prophets, rising up early, and sending them. But ye will not hear, saith Yahweh. So that's the main reason why anytime you see a member of the diaspora being treated a certain way, being executed on the streets, having the judicial system slam an iron fist on them, it is because of that. Stiff-neckedness, right? Hard-heartedness to the word of Yahweh. See, a lot of our people have been bamboozled by the Nicolaitan doctrine. And their whole idea of the Most High is some lovey-dovey teddy bear, right? A lovey-dovey teddy bear that only brings about all your wishes as if he's a genie, right? He's a lovable genie. And the reality of the matter is they find out he's not that way. He's not solely just a father. He's a governor. He's a judge. He's an ultimate universal king that doesn't play about his business. That's one of the main reasons today why a lot of our people are so rebellious and turn to all other different winds of doctrine, right? All of different types of ideologies and religions. And a lot of people go into witchcraft and sorcery. You got the Orishans, you got the Santeria, you got all those different types of wicked religions that our people cleave to because they were fooled by the Nicolaitan doctrine and the overall idea of the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua. And that is a contributing factor or a byproduct of being stone-hearted and rebellious to the instructions of the Most High. And even as we are here this morning, it is 8 o'clock, right? 8:54, going on 9 o'clock, rising early, professing this. Some may catch the live stream on the playback. And even though the Most High has made this understanding, this awakening, to a broader aspect by the way of the internet and these social media platforms, you still have our rebellious people listening in for the wrong reasons, right? They're not listening to gain true edification on rehearsing the righteous acts. That's not what they're doing. They're listening for entertainment. Yeah, a lot of our people find the messengers of the Most High entertaining and not actually serious as carrying forth a message to save their life. They're more so entertained. And it's a lot of people that are like that. It's a lot. And these individuals that do listen, but they're listening in the wrong spirit, they're listening in the spirit of entertainment, they too are still being rebellious because they're not receiving it as if it's a serious matter to save their life. They're not receiving it as if it's a serious matter to please an ultimate judge. They're not receiving it as if it's a serious matter to take along with their heritage now that they know who they are. And you see, a lot of people are guilty now. Since this awakening has spread the way it's spread over the years, a lot of people are guilty. For example, what's that comedian's name? Old fat fool Drewski. Yeah. His first spoof before he started doing all those other religious skits was on the Israelites. That was his first little spoof, right? Before then he started attacking the Nicolaitan church, the black Nicolaitan church. He knows who he is. He caught wind of the doctrine. He caught wind of the awakening. He knows who he is. He is no longer innocent. He is guilty as charged. The blood is on his hands now. There was another comedian that tried to follow his footsteps. And this guy was pretty popular in the late 2000s. Man. Y'all know who I'm talking about. He got the dreadlocks. I think his last name is like Hudson, Emmanuel Hudson or something. He recently did a skit. And he was basically scoffing at how many of the brothers read the scriptures when they're out and about in the highways and hedges. More so, it was IUIC. I mean, same with Drewski. When he made a mockery, he was doing it toward IUIC. But listen, IUIC is getting what they deserve because they all the way out of order. They're going completely off. But that's a whole different story. And many of you all seen when I did the open rebuke against IUIC for what they were doing out there in Africa. Many of those followers of men had a lot to say on the videos. And not only that, YouTube pushed it out tremendously like they never did before. To any of the other videos before that, they made that go viral to a degree. You know, out of all the other videos that were done on this channel, they stifled the views, they bottlenecked the views. As soon as I did an open rebuke on them, hey, they let that mess blow up. Who was this that came into the chat? I saw somebody. One JGD. Shalom. Welcome in. So yeah, Emmanuel Hudson, he just did one recently. He's guilty, and any other comedian that wants to make a spoof on what the Most High is doing through his prophets, you're guilty as charged, especially if you are of the diaspora. You know who you are. You need to repent and come back to the law, statutes, and commandments in the faith of Yahushua. Otherwise, receive judgment. Now, there was another comedian that did it some time ago. I can't even think of his name right now, but I posted it on Instagram. It was at least 2 years ago. I can't think of the guy's name, but he died. He died a couple of years ago. And before he died, him and Mike Epps did a spoof on the brothers being out on the highways and hedges together. And a little bit after he did that spoof, he passed away. I can't even think of his name right now. But you know what I'll do? This is what I'll do. I'll search Instagram. I'll find that particular post, and then I'll share it in the community section so you can see the example. And that post has all the corresponding precepts explaining the matter from the Most High's business. All right. Nonetheless, here we are on the Shabbat. Here we are on the Shabbat. And many of our people are doing whatever the hell they want to do this morning. Right? They're doing whatever the hell they want to do this morning. Some are probably just now getting home from their wild Friday night. They're doing all type of folly right now. But what is it that we're truly supposed to be doing? Let's get that precept. We're going to go to Isaiah 58:13. Drop the 7 in the chat when you get there. Isaiah 58, verse 13. Drop a 7 in the chat when you get there. I'll begin reading. Isaiah 58, verse 13. Isaiah 58, verse 13. Cool. If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, if thou turnest away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of Yahweh, honorable, and shall honor him, not doing thine own ways, not doing thine own ways, not doing thine own ways, nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words. Now, as we speak right now, I showed some of y'all who in the beginning, we got a bunch of people here to the left of me that are over here playing soccer. And many of them look to be of the diaspora. Now, some of y'all might be like, oh, well, why aren't you over there going over there talking to them? They're over here. As y'all can see, they're over there playing soccer. That's a prime example. That's a prime example of what was just talked about here in Isaiah 58:13. Call the Sabbath a delight and refrain from doing your own ways, indulging in your own pleasures, and call the Sabbath a delight. But here we are. Looks like it might be a youth soccer club or something like that, because the guys that are playing look to be teenage. They look like teenagers. Nonetheless, their parents are to blame. Now, some of you over-righteous Israelites would probably be like, well, why don't you set up your post a little bit closer so you can talk to them? I'm not going to do that. Whoever's meant to hear it will take heed and listen. And on top of that, I'm talking loud enough for them to hear me. What was that said in the chat here? Who just spoke in the chat? One JGD says, I definitely need to work on that myself. What do you need to work on? Clarify, what was it? You know, I'm speaking through the spirit right now, so I can't recollect everything I'm saying. Give me some, give me a specific on what you just heard that you said you need to work on. But yeah, nonetheless, I'm not going to go over there and try to force this on them. Whoever's going to gravitate and whoever's meant to hear it will hear it. Nonetheless. Now, that's something we need to be doing. We need to be taking heed to the Sabbath accordingly. Now, if it's something in regards to your job and they're forcing you to work the Shabbat, hey, we're under captivity, okay? That doesn't mean you don't try to work on a resolution. That doesn't mean you try to not find a different position or maybe a different job that can pay you around the same or more, so where you have the weekends off, but you have grace. You have grace through Ha Mashiach. All right? You have grace. But that's a prime thing that our people are guilty of doing, not treating the Shabbat as it should be treated. This is the Lord's day. He gave it to us as a means of rest. Okay, I just see you now. You say the one JGD says on keeping from doing my own ways on the Shabbat. Well, that's good. You're aware of it. So start making the appropriate changes to do so. It's really not hard. It's not hard to keep the Shabbat. It's not hard. Just chill, rest. You rest until the evening. Once the evening comes, you can do whatever you want to do that you had planned. You know, you and your lady want to go out and enjoy yourselves, go ahead and do it. But from sun up to sunset, you're chilling. You're at rest. You're reading the word. You're participating into live streams like this. You're keeping the Shabbat. All you got to do is chill and rest. It's really not hard to keep the Shabbat. Chill, rest, meditate on the word. Chill, rest, meditate on the word. That's all you need to be doing. Anything else outside of that, you're going off. You're going off. And that's anything outside of just chilling and meditating on the word. That's anything. That's anything. And I mean anything outside of just relaxation and meditation on the word. You're doing anything, anything else extra from that, you are going off and you're profaning the Shabbat. Now, we just spoke about work. We know we're under captivity. So if they're not allowing you to take the Shabbat off, you work on that while you have the grace to do so. Maybe you work a different department. Maybe you try to get a promotion to a different job that doesn't require you to work on the weekends. You gotta make a move, and you got the grace to do so. But don't just give up to it and say, "Oh, this is how it is. I'm just gonna be working the Sabbath. I like the money." No, make an appropriate change. The most work with you. You got grace through your Ha Mashiach. Now, furthermore, I want to go to the book of John chapter 7. John chapter 7. That's the book I want to go to. John chapter 7. Right? We're talking about keeping the Shabbat, keeping it holy, refraining from doing our own pleasures. Not out here playing soccer. Right? Not out here doing all this, that, and the third. Resting and meditating on the word of Yahweh. Shim Yahweh. Now, I don't know what's up with my live chat, but I got to keep pressing this button to see if y'all are talking. It's acting stupid. But, you know, drop that 7 once you get to John chapter 7, verse 17. Drop that in the chat, and then we'll begin. All right. Well, JGD, I don't know what you may be doing when you can't get in the scripture, but, you know, nonetheless, take heed. If any man will do his will, he shall know of the doctrine, whether it be of Yahweh or whether I speak of myself. I'm going to read that again for emphasis. If any man will do his will, he shall know of the doctrine, whether it be of the Most High or whether I speak of myself. So this is the word of Yahweh Shai speaking of the doctrine of Yahweh Shai, which is of Yahweh. If you do his will, you'll know that it comes from the Most High and not of man. Many people don't have that distinction. They're not able to distinguish between the will of the Most High and the will of man, right? And it definitely goes for a lot of these congregations. People think that they're doing the will of the Father by following the will of the man, right? The head of their congregation, the leaders of their congregation. Mashiach says, if any man will do his will, he shall know of the doctrine, whether it be of the Most High or whether I speak of myself. And when he said he speaks of himself, he says speaking as of a man. So that can go to any man. That can go to any leader of a congregation or leaders of a congregation. If you're not doing his will, you will be easily confused and not be able to distinguish between the will of man and the will of the Most High. It'll be convoluted. You won't have the discernment to know the difference between the two. And therefore, when you don't have that discernment to know the difference in between, you then get led into folly. Going to verse 18 now. He that speaketh of himself seeketh his own glory. He that speaketh of himself seeketh his own glory. He that speaketh of himself seeketh his own glory. But he that seeketh his glory that sent him, the same is true. And no unrighteousness is in him. So again, this is Yahawashi setting the difference between him and the Most High. He says he don't speak of himself. He says he seeks the glory of the Father. But what's the problem today? What's the mainstream problem today? Even though we're reading these exact words from Yahawashi himself, what's the main problem today? People take Yahawashi at full face value, and then they equate him to the Most High. When throughout all the scriptures, he made a distinguishment between himself and the Most High. He always said he was doing the Most High's will, not his own will. He always said he was speaking of the Most High and not of himself. But the world will tell you that he spoke of himself because he is the Most High. And a lot of people are in folly and error because of that, and many people have perished because of that. Oh, he was a good Christian man. She was a good Christian woman. Oh, he's just gone too soon. Yeah, because you were equating Yahawashi to the Most High. The entire time you was exercising your faith. You took Yahawashi as an excuse and a license to sin. You use Yahawashi as a shield against the law and the will of the Most High. Oh, we're under grace. We're not under the law. Well, yeah, we are under grace, but the law still applies. Continuing forward. Verse 19. John chapter 7, verse 19. Did not Moses give you the law? Did not Moses give you the law? Did not Moses give you the law? And yet none of you keepeth the law. Why go ye about to kill me? And through the Spirit, we already addressed that before we even got to read the scripture. They use Yahawashi as a license to sin. They use his sacrifice as a blood sacrifice for them to do whatever the hell they want to do on this green earth. Jesus died for my sins. Yeah, all that, this, that, and the third, and all that hogwash and folly. And it's prevalent among our people because it's a doctrine that was passed down by the oppressor. Yep, JGD, they do say that. That's the prime thing that they chirp out of their mouths. The law's done away with. The law's done away with. Let's read that again. Let's read that again from Yahawashi Ha Mashiach. This is John chapter 7, verse 19. Did not Moses give you the law? And yet none of you keepeth the law. Why go ye about to kill me? And you know what? There's an additional precept for that I'm about to get, right? And again, it is the words of Yahawashi speaking. Let me get that precept real quick. Let me get that. This is John. Give me a second, y'all. I'm struggling with my screen here. Okay. John chapter 5. We're going to John chapter 5, verse 45. So we're still in the book of John. John chapter 5, verse 45. Drop those sevens in the chat once you're there. See, these same people. I got 1-7. I'm gonna wait a little bit longer for one more. Then I get to read. Cool. This is John chapter 5, verse 45. Do not think that I will accuse you to the Father. There was one that accuseth you, even Moses, in whom ye trust. For had you believed Moses, ye would have believed me, for he wrote of me. Verse 47. But if ye believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words? So that's the disconnect. That's the disconnect. And JGD, you were just talking about it. That's the disconnect. That's why they say the law is done away with, because they don't believe it. So therefore, they can't believe the Messiah. They can't believe Yahawashi. He just stated it here in John chapter 5, verses 45 through 47. He just stated it. If you don't believe Moses' words, how can you believe mine? He wrote of me. So therefore, you despise the law. You also despise me. That's what all these anti-Christians, let's call them that, anti-Christians, they're hypocrites. They're all hypocrites. And that damn doctrine is the reason why a lot of our people are out of order. Because of that doctrine there, that doctrine of the oppressor. Let's get back to John chapter 7. We're starting at verse 20 now. John chapter 7, verse 20. John chapter 7, verse 20. Let me know y'all in there with a 7 in the chat. John chapter 7, verse 20. All right, cool. I'm going to wait for a couple more and then I'll begin reading. John chapter 7, starting at verse 20. All right, cool. The people answered and said, thou hast a devil who goeth about to kill thee. You have a devil. Who's trying to kill you? This is what they told Yahawashi. This is what the same stiff-necked people told Yahawashi. The same rebellious Israelites. This is the same thing that they told Yahawashi. Who's trying to kill you? You got a devil. You're crazy. You're possessed. You're wicked. Doesn't that sound familiar? I know there's a handful of people, or even more, that think I'm wicked, think I got a devil. I don't give a damn, though, because they did the same with Yahawashi. I know of a few people just that I can count on my hand that think I'm wicked because I follow these scriptures. Y'all probably know some too. They think you got a devil. Look here, they said Yahawashi had a devil. We'll read it again. John chapter 7, verse 20. The people answered and said, thou hast a devil. Who goeth about to kill thee? Who's trying to kill you? You got a devil. You speaking crazy. And that's the same thing that these anti-Christians will tell you when you profess the word as is and you tell them the correct doctrine. These same anti-Christians among the diaspora will tell you the same stuff. Oh, you're of the devil. Nah, that is not of God. You're of the devil. Nah, shut the hell up. Your ass is of the devil. You don't know what the hell's going on around here. You don't have the true knowledge, wisdom, understanding of the Most High. He's not revealing the secrets to you. He's not revealing them to you. And many of these people out here at this very moment, he's not revealing these secrets to you all neither. Because y'all are full of folly, rebellious, and don't want to take heed to the word of Yahweh. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. Cry loud, spare not. That's the truth of the matter around here. Boy, Ha Mashiach. John chapter 7, verse 21. Yahweh answered and said unto them, I have done one work, and ye all marvel. We all can relate to Yahweh there. He said he done one work, and ye all marvel. We done one work as well, profess the truth, and they marvel. You speak the truth, and they marvel. They say you're crazy. They say you're worshiping the devil. They say you have a devil. They say you're wicked. They say you're not of God. And all you did is one work, profess the truth. And they marvel. They marvel. Verse 22. John chapter 7, verse 22. Moses therefore gave unto you circumcision, not because it is of Moses, but of the fathers. And ye on the Sabbath day circumcise a man. Verse 23. If a man on the Sabbath day receives circumcision, that the law of Moses should not be broken, are ye angry at me? Because I have made a man every whit whole on the Sabbath day. So here, Yahweh Shai is calling out the people for trying to say that he was working evil because he helped somebody on the Sabbath. That's what he's doing here. That's bear with me, y'all. All right. Salah. So yeah, this was the hypocritical mindset of our people back in antiquity, right? This is the hypocritical mindset of many of the Israelites that were blessed enough to have been around Yahweh Ha Mashiach, but were ignorant to the fact that he was indeed Ha Mashiach. So even to this day, Ha Mashiach makes himself known through the messengers, through the prophets, and it's still the same reaction. Mashiach is here with us in the spirit, and it's still the same response from these wicked 2/3. It's still the same response as it was when Yahweh Shai himself was walking the earth in the flesh. But now, since he's here in the spirit, the vessels that profess the business of the Father under his authority is receiving the same type of backlash that Yahweh Shai did. To this day. To this day. You got a devil. You're not of God. You're wicked. You're evil. You're crazy. It's the same song for one work. And that one work is professing the truth. John chapter 7, verse 24. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Meaning don't judge off your carnal mind, but judge off of the Father's will. Judge off of the law, statutes, and commandments according to the will of the Father and the business of the Father. That was his correction to these Israelites that were stiff-hearted and saying he was doing an evil deed. Righteous judgment is judging according to the scriptures, not judging off your own opinion, off your own thoughts, off your own philosophies and other man's philosophies. Anything of man, we don't judge off of that. We judge off of what the Most High says and how things are supposed to be. That's righteous judgment. And these same anti-Christians will tell you that, oh, God said don't judge, why you judging? No, the Messiah just said judge righteously. The hell you talking about, don't judge? The Messiah himself just said judge righteously, not according to appearance. Not according to appearance, but judge righteous judgment. So we seen that here, right? We seen that here in John chapter 7, verse 24. I'll read it again for emphasis. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Judge righteous judgment. Judge righteous judgment. And one of the most ridiculous phrases or rebuttals or objections that you will get, especially among the diaspora, is a quote from Tupac. Only God can judge me. Well, yeah, you see, Tupac didn't live too long, did he? Most High took his ass up right out of here, too. The one JGD says, I heavily relate to this lesson, Ak. They see you as a heretic. Yeah, because they judge not according to righteous judgment. And they don't believe the words of Moses, so they can't believe the words of Yahushua. So therefore, this individual that they call Jesus Christ is just an idol. It's an idol that has been made by the falsified doctrine of the Nicolaitans, which is passed down from the oppressor. So that's why they see you that way. That's exactly why they see you that way. That's why they see you as a heretic, when in fact they are the heretics, because they're not going according to sound doctrine. They're not going about according to the book of the law. They're not going about according to the will of the Father. So yeah, we all can relate to this. Because look, they did it to Yahushua. They did it to the Messiah. They did the same thing that you might be experiencing professing truth, JGD, is the same thing that they did to the Messiah when he walked the earth. Let me get something real quick. This is another precept in relation to this, so bear with me while I get it. We're going to go to the book of Matthew. Book of Matthew, chapter 5, starting at verse 10. Drop a 7 in the chat when you're there. Book of Matthew, chapter 5, starting at verse 10. Book of Matthew, chapter 5, starting at verse 10. Book of Matthew, chapter 5, starting at verse 10. Drop the 7s in the chat when you're there. Cool. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So the Messiah said, because they call you a heretic, because they say you crazy, because they say you got a devil, and because they say you're not of God when you profess the truth, hey, you're blessed. The kingdom of heaven is yours. Just maintain, just endure. But as long as they're doing that to you, just know you're recognized by the Shamayam. You're recognized by the Alahaya. You're recognized by the Yahweh and all the hosts of heaven. They know who you are. Your name is written in heaven. Let's get further. Verse 11. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Verse 12, rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. So not only did they do this to the Messiah, they also did it to our forefathers, the prophets that we know of, the prophets of old, of antiquity. They did the same thing to them. Take for account Jeremiah. They try to jump Jeremiah. Yeah. The wicked among our people, they try to jump Jeremiah for professing the truth. Shoot, Malak Dawad, when he was traveling with his crew, and he was on horseback and chariots, you had a Benjamite man, I think his name was Shammai, who was throwing rocks at Malak Dawad and cussing him out. You know, even to this day, these same individuals will try to destroy the prophets. They speak evil of the prophets. They call Malak Dawad a murderer and adulterer just because he did that one thing. They tack it on to him forever. Just because he messed up, slipped around, messed with Bathsheba, and had her husband killed in war, they forever hang that over his head that he was an adulterous murderer. JGD says, Khan, my family members in Christianity don't take heed. I went to a Christian university trying to talk to them. They looked at me weird. Oh, you're wasting your time trying to go to a Christian university and talk to them. You're wasting your time. Hey, my battery's about to die, y'all. I just got the notification. I'm on 5% right now. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to end it short, but I'm going to get back live, right? I'm going to get back live, and we're going to pick up where we left off. So y'all stay tuned. Give me about an hour or so, and I'm going to get back live today, and we're going to pick up where we left off because my battery's about to die and this live stream is going to cut off. So just stay tight. Keep an eye on your notifications because I'm going to go back live, and then we're going to pick up where we left off. We left off at Matthew chapter 5, verse 12. We left off there. So we're going to pick up from that when I get back on later. I got to let my phone charge up. It's about to die. I just got the notification. So stay tuned.